morning, friends. Welcome to Go Long, a show that focuses on local sports and faith. It includes thought-provoking interviews with area coaches, players, and sports figures, unashamed Bible discussion, and the one and only, it's back, the popular and entertaining WOYK Scoreboard Show. I'm Wayne McCullough, and with me is Becky B.
Good morning.
Morning, Becky B. Hey, thanks for being with us because we've got a dandy with us this morning. York Catholic's girls basketball coach, the legendary Kevin Bankos. Wow, it'll be nice to talk to Coach Bankos about his team this year and the rest of the York Adams Girls Basketball League. York Catholic just blew out Camp Hill yesterday, by the way. And we also have the York Adams League and PIAA official for basketball and rules interpreter, Phil Miller. What a great official Phil Miller is. You know, every year the National Federation of High School Sports has focuses for basketball officials. So it'll be interesting to talk to Mr. Miller, official Miller, about what that focus is this year. So when you go see these games, you'll have an idea what the officials are looking for. Alrighty, friends, as Paul addressed believers in Rome and explained his mission in the book of Romans, for I'm not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes. Today's Go Long discussion is, what does the Bible say about loyalty? Well, we all want to have loyal friends, and we all talk about loyalty to our teammates and loyalty to our families. It'll be interesting as we talk today in our Bible focus about loyalty. You know, that's our mission on Go Long. As we celebrate the accomplishments of our local athletes, coaches, and sports figures, we do so in an unashamed, faith-based way. Throughout the week and during today's show, please text your prayer requests to 717-350-8591, and Becky B will lead us in prayer at the end of our show. You know, it's red hot at downtown Ollie Brown. Grab the mustard, because this is the Grand Salami of faith-based sports radio shows, brought to you by Sports Radio 98.9 FM, 1350 WOYK, first in York and first in sports, and our friends Kelsey Jean and Kylie Jane at Red Barn Home Decors, where home staging makes dollars and cents. Alrighty then, you wanted it, you asked for it, and you're going to get it. This is the WOYK Scoreboard. Well, as the music might dictate, let's kick it off with high school football. The state football championships games began Thursday, held all weekend, and the Steel High Rollers, representing District 3 and the Mid-Penn League, well, they spanked Fort Cherry out of District 7 by a score of 42-8.
I think Aunt Nellie was there.
Uh-huh.
This is the second straight state championship and the third in 4 years for the Steel High Rollers, as they put up over 40 points in each of their last 3 state playoff games.
As it's been all season long, the Steel High Rollers were led by junior quarterback Alex Irby. Irby connected on 29 of 39 for 340 yards and 5 touchdown tosses. Alex Irby also kept the skin 5 times for another 45 yards, as he accounted for, well, let's do the math, 385 total yards. You might say that's just a typical day in the office for Irby.
And just so you know, Steel High's junior quarterback, Alex Irby, is the real deal.
He is.
At 6 foot 4 inches, 205 points, he's already built like a big-time quarterback. And earlier this year, Irby set the all-time state record for career passing yards and passing touchdowns.
Irby, in his junior year, well over 11,000 passing yards in his career and well over 150 touchdown passes for his career. You know, he's a junior, but he's a Division I big time quarterback.
Absolutely.
Really is. Yep.
I bet he's getting lots of phone calls and letters already.
Yeah.
Congratulations to these teams for their state playoff championships and for their state football championships. In AA, District 4's Southern Columbia over Westinghouse, 21-20. Carter Madden with a 12-yard rushing TD with just 42 seconds left on the clock for Southern Columbia's win.
And in AAA, District 7's Bell Vernon with a convincing 38-7 win over Northwestern Lehigh. Bell Vernon with 345 rushing yards for the win.
In 4A, District 7's Aliquippa hammered Dallas out of Luzerne County, a score of 60-14. Don't forget, Dallas knocked out Bishop McDevitt in overtime last week. Aliquippa with a mind-boggling 574 total yards, 406 with their powerful ground game.
Wow.
Aliquippa with 11 football alums played in the NFL. Perhaps the most famous is Mike Ditka.
Yeah. I mean, what a tradition does Aliquippa have? Hey, in 5A, District 12's Inatep Charter with a dominating 38-13 win over Peters Township. Inatep Charter, a charter school in Philadelphia. Junior running back Jabri Wallace Coleman with 30 carries for 215 yards for Inatep. Wallace Coleman already a top Division I college football prospect.
And in 6A, the Big Boys Pants 6A Championship game, District 12 St. Joseph's Prep with a 45-23 win over Powerhouse North Allegheny. Dual threat senior quarterback Samaj Jones connected on 14 of 17 passes for 232 yards and carried the ball for another 115 yards for the win. Jones, at 6'1", 210 pounds, already verbally committed to the University of Cincinnati for next year. Many consider Jones a top 10 quarterback in the nation.
Yeah, remember that name, Samaj Jones. I mean, when you're playing in the Big Boy Pants division and in the state championship, even in the quarterfinals, but in the quarterfinals, there are as many college coaches at that game as other fans. I mean,
seriously.
Oh my gosh, yes, all over the nation.
And with the internet now, if you can't make it in person, you can watch it later,
well,
right?
that's not the deal, though. I mean, they're there in person because they want the players to know they're there in person.
Okay, gotcha.
And they're interested already. In the Go Long High School girls basketball hoops game of the week on Wednesday evening at Lampeter Stroudsburg High School, the York Suburban Trojans, the Suburbanites, remained unbeaten with a 48-30 pounding of the Lampeter Stroudsburg Pioneers. For the Trojans, senior Janae Rissmiller led with 18. Freshman Jordan Williams booked 11, including 3 from downtown Ollie Brown, and Lydia Powers chipped in 9.
The Suburbanites are the real deal this year. They finished last season with an 18-10 record, reaching the District 3 5A championship game. Experienced head coach Jess Weaver is one of the best, and they returned senior all-star Janae Rissmiller, who averaged 13.7 points per game last season. Rissmiller has committed to play at Mary Washington next year, and junior all-star Lydia Powers, who averaged a 10 spot last season.
All right, Suburban will hit the road, Jack, to take on the Dogtown girls on Tuesday, which I'm telling you, it is an intriguing early season matchup between two outstanding Division II teams.
In other girls' hoop games from yesterday, in the high school girls basketball Fleetwood tournament, the consolation game, Spring Grove beat Fleetwood 46-36. Spring Grove is now 1-2 for the year. In the Southern Border Shootout at Southwestern High School, in the consolation game, Kennerdale beat Littlestown 62-22. That's pretty convincing.
It is.
Kennerdale is now 1-1 for the season. In the championship game, it was Southwestern 49, Susquehannock 18. Pretty convincing there too. Southwestern is now 3-0, and Susquehannock is 1-1. In the Franklin County tournament, Waynesboro High School, the Waynesboro beat Red Lion 54-51 in overtime. Red Lions now at 2-2 for the year. In other games, York Catholic 52, Camp Hill 18. York Catholics 1-0. We'll talk with Coach Bankos.
Spanking, isn't it?
Yep, and we'll talk with Coach Bankos later on. Ephrata beat West York 47-40. West York is now 2-1. Fairfield 40, McConnellsburg 31, and they're now at 3-1. And Dallastown beat Mifflin County 49-30. Dallastown is sitting at 4-0.
Well, I'm telling you, get your notepad out now. The Wildcats, the Wild Things of Dallastown, their girls basketball team, they're the real deal. It'll be fun to follow them throughout the season. In the Go Long boys basketball game of the week, the Central York Panthers knocked off defending state champions, the Reading Red Knights, on Tuesday evening by a score of 90-73 at Central York High School. Yes, this one made high school basketball fans and coaches throughout the York Adams League, throughout District 3, and I'm telling you, the entire state pause and take a breath. A note worth taking. Central trailed by 4 to the defending 6A champs at the half and went on a 28-5 third quarter run to put this one in a mayonnaise jar and stick it under the front porch of some nearby Central York house.
And here's what I'm wondering.
Okay.
What did the Central coach say at halftime? 28-5 run? He did some readjusting there. Holy.
You know, I wasn't there and I didn't talk to Coach, but I'm telling you, I know what he said, Coach Hoke.
What did Coach Hoke say?
Well, first of all, they gave up 73 total points, and they only gave up 5 in the third quarter, so they were in the 40s. Was Reading in the halftime. So I'm sure he said, guys, you got to pull up your pants and defend somebody. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Probably.
There's no doubt about it.
For the Central York Panthers, sophomore Brooklyn Nace booked 23 points to lead all scorers.
Alrighty, well, again, a good night for them. Brooklyn Nace just wrapped up his high school football season as a Central York quarterback, so this guy comes off the football field and pours in 23 points.
Still for the Central York Panthers, junior Ben Natal poured in 16, junior Ben Rill added 15, and senior Greg Geidinger booked an even dozen. Now talk about some balanced scoring too.
Greg Geidinger, 6'7" forward, can play inside and out, and juniors Ben Natal and Ben Rill, both Natal and Rill legit Division I prospects. Natal, a 6'2" point guard, and Rill, a 6'8" power forward. Wow, and you just add that kind of size across that whole team.
Amazing.
And
what are they feeding those guys,
and they're well coached by head coach Jeff Hoke. Hoke in his 4th season as Central York. Guys, this is first of all, the whole season you got to play it out right.
Absolutely.
But this is the team you got to watch, the Central York Panthers. Mm-hmm. All right, hey, boys basketball action from yesterday in the Carlisle Classic consolation game. Hempfield over the Dogtown Boys 59-42. The Dogtown Boys now sitting with a goose egg still in their backpack, 0-3 for the season. At the Southern Border Shootout at Littlestown High School, in the consolation match, it was the Fawn Grove boys over the boys from the Rock as Kennerdale beat Susquehannock 53-44. Kennerdale now sits at 1 win, 1 loss. The Warriors of Susquehannock with the goose egg, they're sitting at 0-2. In the championship game at the Southern Border Shootout, it was the Thunderbolts of Littlestown over Southwestern by 4 points, 54-50, as the Smallsville boys of Littlestown improved to 2-0. The Stangs of Southwestern now with 2 wins and 1 loss early in the season. At the Lebanon tournament consolation game, the Papertown boys over the Lebanon Cedars 44-39. That is Spring Grove's first win of the season. And the York Suburban Tournament Championship game, the Suburban Knights of York Suburban with 50 points as they tattoo Redland 50-33. Suburban's got a real good team this year, guys. I'm telling you. Suburban is now 3-0 for the season. And in other games, it was McConnellsburg over Fairfield. Aunt Nellie doesn't travel that far, but if she did, she would have been there. McConnellsburg 78, Fairfield 22. In the Go Long Boys Wrestling Match of the Week, the Stangs of Southwestern corralled the Dover Eagles 55-15. Pins for the Stangs came from Donnie Eaton at 215 pounds. Landon Dahl is everything but that at 145. Julian Zarado at 160 pounds. Ian Wysocki at 172 pounds. Caden Attaboy Conaboy at 189 pounds. For Dover, there were pins by Cotter Hoffman at 114 and Chase Ferguson at 121 pounds as Southwestern, the Stangs, beat Dover in the Go Long Boys Wrestling Match of the Week 55-15.
In other boys wrestling this week, Dover 15, Southwestern 55, Biglerville 48, Middletown 24, Warwick 15, Central York 51, West York 15, New Oxford 60, Eastern York 60, Northeastern 18, York Tech 57, Schuylkill Valley 18, York Tech 33, Dover 42, and Dover 42, Schuylkill Valley 27.
All right.
Now, are you ready for this? In the Go Long Girls Wrestling Match of the week, the Southwestern Mustangs out-wrestled the Central Dauphin Rams 54-24. For the Stangs, pins by Tatum Duckworth at 124 pounds, Adriana Gonzalez at 130, Angel Upright at 136, Brooklyn Adams at 142, Miriam Westford at 155, Davina Crump at 190, Madison Wilkinson at 106, and Natalie Handy at 112.
Last year we talked with Natalie Handy here on Go Long. What a wonderful young lady, right?
We sure did, yes. And I see Southwestern is having a really strong season here. In the Go Long
count
boys.
The pins. Hold on. Just count those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pins in the match over Central Dauphin.
Yeah, and Central Dauphin's not one of those lay-down schools. Central Dauphin's usually very strong athletically. So it should be interesting to see how well these Mustangs do throughout the season.
The other thing I want to know, Angel Upright at 136 pounds, does she wrestle upright, or does she, you know what I mean? Does she actually take down somebody?
Yes.
Could be Angel take down upright?
Well, obviously she took down somebody because she pinned him. She had to put him on her shoulders.
All right,
yes.
All right, very good.
Okay, in the Go Long Boys Swim Meet of the week, the boys from the Rock outswam the Stangs by a score of Susquehannock Warriors 94, Southwestern 74. For the Warriors, Jackson Hollinger took gold in the 200 and 500 free. For the Stangs, Sean Philippotts captured the 200 IM and the 100 fly, while teammate Spencer Weinholt won the 100 back and the 50 free.
Alrighty, and in the Go Long Girls Swim Meet of the week, the Southwestern Mustangs in their Snacktown pool outswam the Warriors of Susquehannock 107-75 for the Stangs. Chloe Albrecht took first place in the 100 breast and the 200 individual medley. Then Kate Kalmanowitz took first place in the 100 fly and the 200 free for the girls from the rock, paper, scissors. And then the Go Long men's basketball game of the week, Penn State York over Penn State New Kensington yesterday, 62-54, as Penn State York improves to 11-3 overall, 5-2 in conference play. Yesterday they were led by Derek Brown. Derek Brown, you may remember from New Oxford, played as a Colonial. He's a 6'5 senior right now. Derek Brown led with 18 points to lead Penn State York yesterday. Brown also with 7 boards, handed out 2 dimes in that game. Also, Maurice McLean from York High. He is a 6'3 junior. McLean with 14 points, 5 boards, and 4 steals yesterday. You might call him Pickpocket McLean at this point, you know. Well done. Well done to the Penn State York men's basketball team.
In the Go Long women's college basketball game of the week, the Messiah women's basketball team traveled to Mary Washington University for a matchup against the 7-1 Eagles. The Falcons' strong defense propelled them to a 54-48 win on the road. New Oxford's Morgan Adams pocketed a 10 spot and added 6 boards as the Falcons improved to 6-2 for the season.
Alrighty, well done. Morgan Adams from New Oxford. Last year she was second team All-MAC. She's a sports communications academic all-district team. So not only is she pretty good on the floor, but she's also a very, very bright student. Well done. She's all-MAC academic all-star team, I should say, also last year. So pretty well done, right, Morgan Adams?
Absolutely.
Hey, the boys from York College, the York College men and women's basketball teams, I should say, were off this weekend. The men will be traveling to Rochester, New York to take on the University of Rochester Yellow Jackets on Tuesday at 5 p.m. The Spartan men with a 4-2 record, and the York College women are sitting on a 4-3 record. They'll face Penn College, the Wildcats, in Williamsport on Wednesday afternoon. Real quick, we've been following the NCAA Division II football playoffs the last few weeks, mostly because of New Oxford's Braden Long. So anyway, just to follow up on it, remember last weekend Kutztown beat Slippery Rock in Slippery Rock to continue to the Final Four in the NCAA. Well, yesterday Kutztown ran into the buzzsaw, the Colorado School of Mines, as Colorado School of Mines beat Kutztown University by a score of 35-7. So the national championship in Division II will take place next weekend with the Colorado School of Mines taking on Harding out of Ohio. We said this last week. We were at the Colorado School of Mines. I mean, that you talk about a school that sits on top of the mountain down over the cliff, right?
Well, they put the School of Mines when they built it near the mines. And where would you find a mine? On top of a mountain,
that
maybe,
makes
right?
sense, yeah.
You know, in the mountains. So
Yeah. Well, I mentioned this last week, and I'm going to do it again because I have such respect for this man. Local civil engineer, recently retired, Jim Holly from New Freedom, has his business, civil engineer business in York, Holly Associates, for as long as I can remember. Helped coach youth football here locally when I was a young man, a young boy, I should say. Just active in the community in many, many respects, including the Southern York County School Board. Jim Holly, a graduate, I say all that. Jim Holly, a graduate of the Colorado School of Mines, which is where he got his engineering degree from. So, okay, good luck, Colorado School of Mines. I guess that's who I'm going to pick just because of that, right? Because of that connection. All right,
I
real
have
quick.
no idea where Harding is, even in Ohio.
Yeah. Well, earlier in the show we talked about Aliquippa and their win, and they had Becky. You mentioned they have 11 players, 11 alums that have played in the NFL. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to do a quick research of what schools in Pennsylvania had the most NFL players, and then the most active NFL players. Well, the leader all time goes to Kiski School. Kiski School, just a stone's throw east of Pittsburgh in Indiana County. It's a private school in Salzburg. They had 21 NFL players.
That's quite a few when you think about it.
Now most of them are back years.
Okay.
But nonetheless, currently Central Catholic out of Pittsburgh had 15 alums playing in the NFL. They have 4 current players, including DeMar Hamilton. A lot of you know DeMar Hamilton, playing for Buffalo right now. 4 active players from Central Catholic in the NFL. Also McKeesport, out of McKeesport, PA, obviously. 15 NFL players, 1 active. At this point, you may know Khalik Hudson, linebacker for the I want to say the Redskins, for the Commanders. What are they now? They're the Commanders.
They're the
Commanders. I guess I still think of them as a Redskin.
Well, they've changed their name, Wayne.
Get
with the program.
Northeast High School out of Philadelphia. 14. Monessen, a tiny steel town in Pittsburgh. 14 players out of Monessen. I mean, that's about as put on your daggone steel helmet and pick up your lunchbox kind of town as you will find in Pennsylvania is Monessen. I've been there many times. Mercerburg Academy, 14. Woodland Hills of Pittsburgh, 14. Newcastle with 12. Altoona with 11. Aliquippa, 11. Penn Hills, Pittsburgh, 11. Johnstown, 10. We could go on and on and on. But
well, this sounds like a lot of District 7.
Well,
we see a lot of District 7
true.
Teams here in the state playoffs as well.
True.
That's good football country.
True. Okay, one final thing before we move on. Then I thought, okay, well, what state has the most current NFL players? Okay, no surprise here. Pennsylvania comes in 6th. Not bad, right?
No,
not bad.
Not terrible.
Texas leads everyone. 211 NFL players from the state of Texas.
Texas is a pretty big state,
It's a big state, and obviously football country. California, 149. Florida, 149. North Carolina, 121. The Tar Heel State. And Alabama, 109. Pennsylvania, 6th, 106. Interesting, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and when you look at that, most of those places are down in the South, where it's warm and they can play football year-round. Pennsylvania sometimes has to play in the snow, so we're the first of the states in the North. Not bad.
Well, true. Alrighty, it's now time for us to go long and talk about what does the Bible say about loyalty. And I think when most of us think about loyalty, we all want to have friends and family members who, no matter what we do, because I do boneheaded things one second after another, but no matter what we do, that we can count on them being loyal to us, and they can count on us being loyal to them. It's just that important allegiance. And I guess when you think of sports as well, Becky B., we think of loyalty to our favorite teams. I mean,
well, look at some of the people like let's just look at Chicago. How many years were they waiting for the Cubs to get into the World Series?
Pretty loyal.
And there were some poorly loyal fans. When you think about Cubby fans, there's some amazingly loyal fans.
Yeah. Well, do you have a team like that, Becky B? Do you have a loyalty team? I mean, I'm loyal, obviously, to the Orioles. I mean,
yes.
I grew up in the time with Brooks and Boog and Frank and those guys, Jim Palmer and those guys. I mean, and maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's part of that growing up. process, but probably
Well,
I'm loyal to the Orioles.
And I think there are a lot of people who become loyal to the hometown team, or the closest team to where they grow up. And some of them, honestly, you've developed loyalty because maybe it's a family tradition. Like, for example, my father bled blue with Penn State.
True.
And so, college football, I've always
sing us the Penn State fight song. Since that's go ahead, come on.
No, thank you. I am not singing the Penn State fight song.
Come on.
But I do have to.
No. You can't get out of it. You got to sing the first.
I do have to say.
Couple lines right now.
No. I do have to say that I could probably sing the Penn State fight song by the time I was 2 years old.
Do it.
Just because Dad would stand up and sing the Penn State fight game.
You got to do it.
I am not singing the Penn State fight song.
Come on, Becky.
Okay.
Everyone out there wants to hear it.
When we talk about loyalty,
isn't it something like fight on state? Fight on. Go ahead.
That's exactly how
How's
it goes.
It go? I don't know. I can't remember. How it
Wayne,
goes.
you know how it goes, and that's enough. And if you don't know, listen to the Penn State band, and they'll be
I
playing.
tried, everybody.
Okay?
I tried.
Alrighty. And when we look at loyalty, there are many people like. One of my favorite couples here, I have to say, Mr. and Mrs. Bortner, who live right up here in Susquehannock territory. The Bortners are in their 80s now. They are so loyal to Susquehannock that almost any time that there's a home game, you can see the Bortners still sitting in the stands and cheering on Susquehannock. They no longer have even grandchildren who are in the program, but they are loyal to the school. And it's amazing to see people like that who just come back all the time to support them.
You make a good point. When I think of loyal high school fans, I think you got to go to West York football. I mean, it's just, there's something special about that. Eastern York basketball, I mean, York High and their traditions. Some of it's tradition related, I guess, is what you're saying, and it certainly
honestly,
helps to win, right?
I used to hate when our son was playing basketball. I used to hate going up to West York because I knew they would have 50 million people packed in those stands right behind the visitors' basket on the second half, and they'd be yelling, screaming, doing anything. And honestly, that kind of loyalty does hold a little bit of home team. What do I want to say? Home team advantage,
All
maybe.
Right. So you won't sing this Penn State fight song, but you'll talk about that home team advantage. All right.
Okay.
Well, I challenge all of us as we talk about loyalty and do so in kind of a light fashion here. I challenge us to, when we think about loyalty, let's try to understand it as God is the basis for us to understand it, and also just the unfailing, the commitment to love that God has for us. Isn't that probably the greatest loyalty of all? Because in the book of Romans, it talks about God pledging his love to all people, even those that rebel against him. What do you think, Becky B, is the basis for understanding loyalty is first understanding God's love for us?
Absolutely. God is such a steadfast God. He is there all the time. He is just faithful and committed. If we look at what commitment should say in the dictionary, it's God's commitment to us as a people, loving and caring and just giving and, always giving us his mercy, and just, Jesus giving his life for us. Talk about commitment and loyalty there. Even in his darkest day, Jesus said, if possible, could you let this cup pass from me? And if not, here I am. And gave his life for us.
Yep, just a few Bible verses that mention loyalty and about loyalty. From Proverbs chapter 17, verses 17. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. From Proverbs chapter 18, verse 24. A man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. From Proverbs chapter 21, verse 21, whoever pursues righteousness and kindness will find life, righteousness, and honor. From the book of John chapter 15, verse 13, greater love has no one than this, that someone lay down his life for his friends. And then finally from the book of Romans chapter 13, verse 1, let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. So my friends, as we wrap up today's Go Long chat, I encourage you to, when you think of loyalty, and it's good and right to be loyal to your teams and your family and your loved ones and your friends, and you should be. In fact, the Bible encourages that with many, many stories as well. Ruth is a great example.
Yes, even
loyal.
after her husband died, she went with her mother-in-law.
Naomi, right. There's just Jonathan, the son of King Saul, a great example of loyalty. So the Bible gives us great examples of loyalty, but I encourage us all to think of God's love for us when we think in terms of loyalty. Becky B., your final thoughts?
Well, I think you summed it up pretty well there, Wayne McCullough.
Alrighty, so you're still not able to sing the Penn State fight
Fight
song.
on state.
There you go.
Fight on state. Strike your gate and win. Okay, that's it.
Alrighty. Hey, friends, we'll be right back. And we're going to have the legendary Coach Kevin Bankos right after this message from our sponsors, Red Barn Home Decors.
Hey WOIK listeners, Daryl Henry here with Kelsey McCullough, Kylie Taylor, the owners of Red Barn Home Decors. Kelsey, tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing.
So Kylie and I bring in our furniture and decor to either a vacant or occupied home, and we allow buyers to create emotional connections with the home by envisioning their family in that space. Doing that allows the buyer to get top dollar for their listing and also sell it in the fastest amount of time.
Kylie, tell us about the benefits of Red Barn in particular.
Home staging is very important in the selling process. It really makes sure that your home sells in the quickest amount of time and for the top dollar. Some of our statistics here are homes sell in an average of 4.5 days and for over 16,000 over asking.
Kelsey, how would folks get in touch with Red Barn?
Please feel free to check out our portfolio at www.redbarnhomedecors.com. You can also check out our social media pages at Red Barn Home Decors or give us a call at 717-818-1207.
Red Barn Home Decors. Staging makes dollars and cents.
It's gonna be another epic year of high school hoops, and Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOIK are ready for tip-off. Tune in every week for the high school basketball game of the week, presented by WellSpan Sports Medicine. Plus, go to 98.9WOIK.com for a full breakdown of the teams and the players of the York Adams League. The high school basketball game of the week, presented by WellSpan Sports Medicine. Catch all the action all season on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350, online at 98.9WOIK.com, or download the new WOIK app.
This holiday season, join us at Wellspan Park for the enchanting Spruced Up, a celebration of trees presented by Traditions Bank. Dozens of beautifully decorated trees will line the concourse with holiday-themed entertainment each night, and it's all free. Visit us every Friday and Saturday night from December 1st through December 16th between 5 and 8 p.m. Immerse yourself in the holiday spirit and vote for your favorite tree. The top 3 trees will earn a total of $5,000 in donations to their nonprofits, courtesy of Traditions Bank. Spruced Up, spreading joy, giving back, and making memories. Don't miss out. More information on the nightly entertainment at sprucedupyork.com.
The York Adams League is stepping up for local student athletes in a big way with the first ever York Adams Mental Health Symposium. Join us Sunday, January 7th at Susquehannock High School for a great event focused on the very important topic of mental health for student athletes and tools for creating success on and off the field. Join us for the Wellness Fair from 2 to 4 with a special coaches session from 2 to 3 and a student and parents session from 3 to 4. And as a bonus, the high school or middle school with the most participation receives a cash prize. Sponsored by the YAIAA, YCYMHA, Bards Brigade, and presented by UPMC. The York Adams Mental Health Symposium, Sunday, January 7th at Susquehannock High School.
And welcome back to Go Long. I'm Wayne McCullough. With me is Becky B. With us live right now is PIAA basketball official, also York Adams League basketball official, the rules interpreter for the York Adams League, Phil Miller. Phil, thanks for being with us. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Well, first, thank you for being with us. First of all, I got to say this. You know, being a long-time basketball coach, I just have the highest respect for what you do, for what you bring as an official, for your leadership, but also all the York Adams officials. You know, I've said this for the last 20 years. You know, when I got into coaching, the York Adams League often took second fiddle to Mid-Penn LL League. And I think the officials came first in bringing that league up. And as the officials rose to all of a sudden doing district and state playoff games, which is competitive as well, the teams came along. So the greatest respect for you for all you bring, and thank you to all the York Adams League officials.
Well, thank you very much. And we do have a fine group of men and women that are officials in the York chapter. We have stepped up our game by going to clinics and hosting clinics to improve our skills in officiating, and that has resonated into advancing in like you said, in the district and the state level to where we're being assigned top level games throughout the state of Pennsylvania, including state championships.
Yep. Well done. First, tell us what is a rules interpreter? What is it?
Well, what my responsibility is to really be a teacher. We have 10 meetings throughout the year, and what I do at the rules at the meetings is teach the rules of the game. So we're applying the rules of the game consistently throughout the league and throughout the district and state.
Every year there are certain rules that are, if I want to say, emphasized throughout the basketball season. What have they chosen as those rules this year?
Right. Well, what you're going to see this year is actually some rule changes. So we're pretty excited about actually having a couple different rules in place. And the most noticeable rule that you're going to see this year is they've eliminated the one-on-one free throw. So historically, when we got to 7 fouls and a half, we would go to the line and shoot 1-on-1. So they've eliminated that rule from the game. What they changed it to is more like the women's college rules, where when you get to 5 team fouls in each quarter, you're going to shoot the double bonus. So we're going to go, when you hit 5 team fouls, we're going to shoot 2 free throws. So that's going to be a little different change and a little different feel to the game. Now, each quarter, it's going to reset back to 0 team fouls. So that's really the biggest change that we have this year.
You know, I find that really interesting. That I think is impactful, right? I mean, it almost there's obviously a reason behind that. Can you give us the reason?
Sure. The rationale behind this is really for player safety. There's a number of studies that were done and of how players get injured, and the biggest factor was in rebounding situations. So what they're trying to do is reduce the risk of injury and the number of rebounding situations. So when you shoot a 1-on-1, everyone's lined up on the free throw lane, and the shot goes up, and everyone crashes the boards to get the rebound. Well, of course, if the player makes it, then they get a second free throw. So what they're trying to do is eliminate the number of rebounding and situations where players could possibly get injured.
Well, that's definitely going to change the way, at least had I been a coach, it would change the way I'm coaching too, because, often fourth quarter when you're looking to foul so that you have a 1-on-1 and may have a change of possession, and that's going to eliminate that now.
It's definitely going to change how coaches the strategy as we're coming down the stretch in the fourth quarter. So you're going to start the fourth quarter back to 0-0 in fouls. So are you going to have to foul early to maybe get the team to the line so you can catch up? Or do you just play it out and just try to play good defense and hope to get steals and miss shots? So it's definitely going to change coaches' philosophy and strategies, especially coming from behind.
We're speaking with Phil Miller, PIAA official, York Adams League official, and rules interpreter. Mr. Miller, Referee Miller, I got to tell you a quick story. So 25 years ago, I'm sitting at York Suburban High School as I think it was Dave Consino was the rules interpreter, longtime official, great official in the York Adams League as well. He's going over the point of emphasis for the year, and the point of emphasis that's really given to them by the National Federation, but obviously, as you talked about, discussed often in meetings with the York Adams officials. He's sharing them, and he talked about to try to reduce rough play in the paint. The officials are going to be watching that. They're going to be watching hand checking on dribble penetration. That's a foul. You got to keep your hands off the player who's dribble penetrating, and so forth. And it was funny. I'm sitting with legendary high school coach Joe Hassenfuss from York Suburban, and Joe kind of he nudges me and he says, "Look at this." So Joe had his little binder of notes with him, and of course Coach Hassenfuss coached maybe 40 years, 50 years, and he goes,
Right.
"Look at this. 20 years ago, the points of emphasis was no rough play in the paint and stopping hand check on dribble penetration." So it's funny. I mean, 20 years of notes you still with the same points of emphasis. So the game maybe doesn't change that much. Is there also points of emphasis this year as well?
Sure, and it's funny you say that because those same points of emphasis that we had 25 years ago are still intact today. We do want to reduce rough play. You see the game, and it is very physical, and we want to protect the safety of the student athletes. So we want to be aware of rebounding situations. I think that's one of the biggest areas of emphasis is rebounding. As soon as that shot goes up, players are taught to box out. And from the offensive standpoint, you want to attack the rim, attack the basket to get that rebound. So we want to have heightened alert and awareness in rebounding situations. Make sure a player's not pushing someone in the back that's boxing out. You'll often hear a fan or coach yell, "over the back." Well, I want to be clear what the difference between over the back is and on the back. If you're over someone's back, that means you jumped and you're vertical over someone, over higher than maybe the person boxing out. So that is over the back. On the back, and which is not a foul. On the back is a foul where you haven't jumped higher than the player boxing you out, and you're on their back. That's a foul. Over the back is not a foul.
All right, now I know that in the past there have been games that had to be moved around and so forth because of just sheer lack of numbers of officials, especially when officials, like other athletes, become ill or have some injury and they were not able to shuffle the officials, around to cover that area. How are the numbers of officials at this point in the York Adams League?
Well, I'm glad you brought up that topic, because yes, we do have a crunch of officials, a shortage of officials. For a full varsity JV boys and girls play night, a league play night, we need 105 officials to cover the games. 2-person JV, 3-person varsity. So to cover games completely in the league, we need 105 officials. So that's before anyone gets sick, injured, turns back the game for whatever reason. So we need a lot of officials, and what we do to compensate for that is you'll sometimes see the same crew work the JV varsity. So instead of 5 officials at a site, we'll put 3 officials at a site, and they'll do the doubleheader JV varsity game. So we try to avoid inconveniencing the schools because there's always a lot of scheduling issues with the athletic directors. They have multiple sports that they have to schedule on any given night. So we try to eliminate moving that game to another date, just to avoid the inconvenience. And we know the student athletes want to play. They have a game on Tuesday night. They want to be there. So there is a lot of shuffling and reassigning that needs to be done from time to time. So we're always looking for new officials to join our ranks.
And how do you become a York Adams official?
Very easy. Go to the PIAA website, and there's a location for officials. You can sign up to be an official in whatever sport you choose, and you can take the test online. Used to be they would only offer the test a couple times a year, and you would have to go take a paper pencil Scantron exam. Now it's offered online, so it's as convenient as it can be. But we also offer kind of practice exams. So reach out to myself or someone else in our chapter, and we can help train you and teach you on how to take the test to become an official.
Just a couple, just maybe hardcore basketball officiating questions. I think the most difficult call, not only for an official, but also for people, fans, to try to understand is the offensive foul charge. Is when an offensive player is driving hard to the basket and the defensive player tries to draw a charge. What do officials look for to try to differentiate that block or offensive charge call?
Yes, the block charge. That's probably one of the most, the least understood and maybe the most difficult call to make. You have to make a split-second decision, and what we just, in fact, we just went over the block charge in our last meeting. So what we look for is we watch the defender. Is the defender in legal guarding position? And what does that mean? What is legal guarding position? You have to have 2 feet on the floor to establish initial legal guarding position. So 2 feet on the floor facing your opponent. Once you establish that initial legal guarding position, the defender can move. They don't have to stay still. The defender can move side to side. They can move backwards. They can move diagonally, but they can't move forward. So if the defender establishes that initial legal guarding position and they slide, play good defense, slide to the left or slide to the right, and that offensive player, the dribbler, has the greater responsibility to avoid contact. So if the offensive player continues to drive, the defender can move and get into good position, and if they make that contact in the torso of the defender, that would be a player control foul or an offensive foul. The defender.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, please keep going. Thank you.
If the defender moves forward into the path of the offensive player, then that would be a block. So there's a split-second decision that we have to make, but the key is watching the defender to make that decision.
Do you ever watch these NFL football games where there's a call on the field and they go to the rules interpreter official, on the show? Phil, I think you should be sitting in the stands, and when there's a call out there, they'll just pause the game, say, Phil, tell us what you think on this call. I think that'd be helpful.
Exactly. Unfortunately, at the high school level, we can't go to the monitor.
Right. True.
It would be great to be able to rewind that play. Let me take another look at that.
Yeah.
And I hope that's what coaches and fans and players appreciate, that we have to make a split-second decision, and sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong, but in all honesty, we're doing our best to get it right.
Well, and I think 99.9% of the time you got it right when it boils down to it.
Right. Now, do you also train your fellow referees on how to handle the people in the stands who think they're right and obviously are not when they're making the incorrect calls from the stands or booing the officials?
Right. Well, I'll tell you, we have a real close-knit group of officials. We get along really well, and we say that when we're out on the court, we're the only friends you have. Mm-hmm. Every call. So we really want to be a good partner and back our partner up and try to make consistent calls. And if we have a play on one end of the court, we try to match that play on the other end of the court, so we're being as fair and consistent as we can. Of course, if we kick a call, we make the wrong call, we want to try to own up to it and just improve the next time down the court. But if we have we have a situation. You're never going to satisfy the fans, right?
Absolutely.
Because they're going to see the play for their side, and so there's no change in their perspective. But if we miss a call or make a wrong call, we try to have that conversation with the coach and say, hey, coach, maybe I didn't have the best angle on that. I'm going to work to improve that angle and try to get it better the next time.
Our go long topic today, Phil, was loyalty, and you mentioned that. I think the fraternity of PIAA officials and probably officials nationwide, doesn't matter what sport it is strong, and it needs to be strong. Can you talk a little bit about the loyalty between the officials?
Absolutely. We do have a great group of officials. I think our numbers are probably around 125 officials, and we have a weekly meeting during the season. We also do off-season training. We have a couple of training sessions at York College and at Messiah College to keep up on the rules and practice our craft. But it's a great group of men and women that are in our chapter, and we just try to work together and help each other out. And again, we're the only friend we have for that hour and a half on a Friday night. So we enjoy working together.
Well, Phil Miller, PIAA official, we could talk forever. I enjoy talking to you. I encourage players and coaches who are listening today, listen to your officials throughout the game. I've always told our players that the officials will tell you how they're calling the game. They'll tell you get your hands off. If you don't listen, they're going to call the foul. They're going to, you listen to the officials. Again, as players and coaches, you'll learn a lot. It'll be a better game. Phil, thank you for all you do. Thank you to all of the York Adams officials. We're going to get you back on soon. It's just fun chatting with you, and I appreciate all you do. So thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, and we appreciate what you do. Thank you.
All righty. We'll be right back after this message from our sponsors. Pick that up.
Hey WOIK listeners, Daryl Henry here with Kelsey McCullough, Kylie Taylor, the owners of Red Barn Home Decors. Kelsey, tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing.
So Kylie and I bring in our furniture and decor to either a vacant or occupied home, and we allow buyers to create emotional connections with the home by envisioning their family in that space. Doing that allows the buyer to get top dollar for their listing and also sell it in the fastest amount of time.
Kylie, tell us about the benefits of Red Barn in particular.
Home staging is very important in the selling process. It really makes sure that your home sells in the quickest amount of time and for the top dollar. Some of our statistics here are home sell in an average of 4.5 days and for over 16,000 over asking.
Kelsey, how would folks get in touch with Red Barn?
Please feel free to check out our portfolio at www.redbarnhomedecors.com. You can also check out our social media pages at Red Barn Home Decors or give us a call at 717-818-1207.
Red Barn Home Decors. Staging makes dollars and cents.
Getting pumped for another year of high school basketball? Tune into Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOIK as we lay it all out for you in the high school basketball spotlight. Presented by WellSpan Sports Medicine. Catch a preview every day this month leading up to tip-off on Sports Radio 98.9 and 1350. We'll break down the teams and the players of the York Adams League. Or go to 98.9WOIK.com for this year's complete lineup of high school basketball previews. Then this winter, catch 2 games a week. Presented by WellSpan Sports Medicine and only here on Sports Radio 98.9 and 1350.
And welcome back to Go Long. With us now, legendary basketball coach from York Catholic girls basketball, Coach Kevin Bankos. Coach Bankos, good morning.
Hey, good morning, all. Thanks for having me on.
Good, thanks. First of all, Coach, I mean, you shellacked Camp Hill. I don't know what that means, but tell us a little bit about your team this year.
Camp Hill is young, and they have, some of the challenges that we're all having. Some of the kids decided not to come out that probably would have started for them. So it was our first game, so it was a good test for us to see instead of practicing against each other every day where we're at and where we need to go. And we have our first 5 are returning, so we're junior season laden, and then we have a plethora of freshmen, and we only have one sophomore. So it's a nice blend of kids.
Paige O'Brien seems like she's been there forever.
Yeah, well, if we can figure out this whole portal for high school and maybe some COVID years, we'd keep her.
Absolutely. I think you probably should. First of all, Coach, I think when you look at the division, you got to mention DeLone Catholic. They're pretty daggone strong as well this year.
They're the team to beat without a question. He hates when I say that, so I'm going to say it every time I get a chance to. They're very good, and he's got basketball players that play all year round, and kids that want to work on their game, and it's a special team. They're fun to watch, except when you're standing on the sidelines and taking the beating from them, but they're really good.
Real quick, tell us how, and I've watched it, and that's why I'm interested in your thought, over the last 20 years, how girls basketball in the York Adams League has just grown. Last year you're in the 3A championship. When teams are leaving the York Adams League, and you look at teams like Dallastown and their coach, Rexroth and Redline and Dimoff and these guys, I mean, these teams are quality girls basketball teams.
Yeah, for sure. I think what you just said is part of those programs' success is the consistency of the coaching. When you have coaches, and it's hard to find coaches now, and for multiple reasons, but when you have coaches that have been there a while, they have a culture in place, they have a system in place, and it's a reoccurring success. And I think what it does is it brings excitement to the kids that they want to be part of that success. They want to be part of winning. They want to be part of traveling to, being able to play in the Giant Center or some of these big arenas. So, I think the first important thing is for people to recognize how much it takes to get coaches involved in this stuff and how much time they put in. But if they stay, they reap the benefits of it, the program and the school.
Absolutely, and then in your case, you become a family affair, and it's also another way to keep in touch with your family, correct?
Yeah, for sure. Years ago, I just mentioned I have no idea how long Ashton has been with me coaching, but I can remember the day it was decided, and it wasn't by me. She just basically told a reporter that she volunteered to coach with us, and she showed up, and it made it a challenge. Volunteers are hard to fire because you don't pay them anything, and they just keep coming back. And two, she's a family member, so couldn't fire her and then have Sunday dinner with her. So it's a lot of fun. I would tell you, out of all the memories I have as a head coach, the wins are great, the championships are great, but watching your kid play the sport and then being able to coach with her is certainly one of the top ones.
Coach, we just had Phil Miller on, your rules interpreter for the York Adams Basketball League. What's your thought on now no longer having a one-on-one situation? We're shooting 2 free throws after 5 each quarter.
Yeah, as a coach, I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
I watched the college game do it. One, I think it takes some of the strategy of the game away, which is already, we put rules in place that are already hindering some strategies. But this one seems, especially on the girls' side, that, to me, it could slow the games down. I've watched some junior high games and I've watched some JV games that, the kids aren't where they need to be skill-wise yet, and the games are getting drug out. And then my fear is officials are going to officiate the game different because of that aspect. So I don't see the benefits of it. I don't understand it. I've been explained to it, but sometimes I'm not very smart and don't listen. But it just doesn't make sense to me.
All right, friends. Well, I can tell you this. Coach Bankos is very smart. He's a great basketball coach, a great leader of young people. Today's Go Long topic was loyalty. You have been loyal to your players. Your players have been loyal to you. You've been loyal to the whole York Catholic family. There is not a better man, a man I have as much respect for as Coach Bankos. Coach, thanks for being with us today. We're going to touch base with you later in the season, check in on these Fighting Irish, see how you're making out.
Well, I appreciate the comments, and you guys for doing the same. You've been around a long time, and I think it's a disservice for the kids when we don't get to recognize them. So I appreciate all you guys do, and please keep doing what you're doing.
All righty, Coach. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
All right.
All righty, Becky B., would you please close in prayer today?
Dear Lord, we just thank you for this time together. We ask your blessing, Lord, on the athletes and the officials and the coaches and everybody involved in athletics as they start their winter seasons. And we just ask your blessing, especially, please, on those that are struggling with illness. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All righty, friends, thank you so much for being with us every Sunday morning. We appreciate it very, very much. It's so nice to spend our mornings together as we celebrate the accomplishments of our local athletes, also in a faith-based way. So we appreciate you very, very much. So thank you. So the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all. Thank you to Kelsey Jean and Kylie Jane from Red Barn Home Decors, where home staging makes dollars and cents. For Sports Radio 98.9 FM 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports. This is Dr. Wayne McCullough and Becky B. saying, go long.